Hey Daddy Lights, hey Daddy Lights. I just want to come in and shoot this video. This is something that came to me that I found to be helpful, and I'm hoping and praying it can be helpful for you as well. I remember I was the other day watering my plants, right? And I noticed that on one side of my plants, as I was watering them, because it's been hot here in Texas, and sometimes the leaves might turn a little different color, right? And it wasn't as green. And actually, these few leaves had turned yellow. And I noticed that. So I went to get, some water so I can water my plant. And I find it interesting. This is what I want to share with you. This particular plant, as I began to water the plant in a hole, right? One side of the plant that had nothing but green leaves, right? And I added the water to it and it was just fine. But on the other side, those few leaves that have noticed had changed colors, once I added water to the plant, the leaves fell completely off. And I find it to be interesting how when you add water to something, when you bring life to something, what is meant to be, it seemed like the green flowers, they began to flourish. The petals began to bloom. They began to blossom more even. But the ones that was fragile, that wasn't maybe malnourished or not or withered to a certain extent, they, as I began to try to bring them, make them well by adding water to those particular leaves, they fell off. And I just find it to be interesting. And again, this message may not be for everybody, but the ones that it's for, I do believe that it will register with you in your spirit. Okay. With that being said, it seemed like to me what's for you, it won't leave you. It won't, the life that God has given you, He's placed inside of you. And I want the Holy Spirit to make this plain so that He'll speak through, cut Trika off and speak through me, Holy Spirit. What God has for you, and if it's good for you, and if it's healthy for you, and if it's for you altogether, as you water that thing, as you give that thing life, as you connect with that thing, as you take care of that thing, it will be what's needed to keep going with you. As you're giving it life, it will sustain the life and grow, continue to grow and go with you. But what's not for you, that's maybe that has not did the work like you might have done, that has not went through the process of what's needed to be done, and it could be in a withered state. It could be even toxic, unhealthy, and whatever form, shape, or fashion. The moral to the story is, I do believe what God has for you is for you. It won't leave you. It will stay with you. It might get tired. It might, like my grandmother would always tell me, she'd say, Trika, you might give out, but don't never give up. So I say that to say, what is for you, yeah, it might get tired. It might have to sit down sometimes. Might even have to just take a minute, take a pause, hit a reset button. But again, once you water that thing, it will come back to life. It'll come back to where you need it to be. It'll build itself back up again. But what's not for you, you will see that it might fall off. You begin to speak life into it where it has to reveal itself. And then all of a sudden, if it fall off, maybe it wasn't for you. Because I do believe in a saying that I've always heard, right? What's for you won't easily leave you. Okay? But you have to know, you have to give that thing life. You have to replenish that thing. You have to speak life over that thing. So why? It can speak life and be life for you. It's a two-way street. Okay. So I just wanted to share that with you. Anything that might have left you, Daddy Lights, or you've been trying to feed into and give life to, and it just seemed like it fell off, that most likely wasn't for you in the first place. And that's why it had to go. Everything's for a season. Everything's not always meant to be. And sometimes it shows you that when you try to, the more you give into it, you realize that you're not getting you're not being reciprocating that back. Okay, maybe it's not in your capacity. Maybe you're outside of its capacity. I believe in reciprocity. I truly do. And I actually just had a dream about it last night. God reveals things to me, and I'm sure to you as well. If something is not given back to you or able to feed back on their level, however that may be, but you're constantly feeding into it or they or them, he or she or whomever that may be, Maybe it's a sign that this is not what's for you. Maybe that season has changed. It has shifted. Okay. I don't want you to continue to be holding on to something that is not supposed to be held on to. Okay. Let God do the work. Let God fix it. And if it's meant to be, God will allow it to be. So just keep that in mind. And then again, this message might not be for everybody, but the person is for, I think it will realize it. You will realize it. It'll speak to your spirit. So just wanted to come on here to inspire you, to encourage you, and to tell you, Daddy Lights, to keep God first. Because that light look good shining on you and through you. Okay? Let's continue to be a light in this dark world for our Daddy Jesus. Keep God first. And until our next video.